And what is the biggest benefit Udan has done to the country? I've talked about many of them, but one of the biggest one is that new airlines have come in. New airlines, which many of you, because they operate in very specific sectors, you might not see them. Star Air is there, Fly 91 is there, India One is there. They might have very small operations. They might have a 9-seater or a 19-seater, but they are the ones who are connecting the tier 3 cities. They are the ones who are connecting the remotest parts. You would have never seen these kind of airlines come into the country. But it is because of Udan, they found a way to come in. Is it not what we want? This is exactly what we want, more airlines to come in, more competition to be there in the country. And Udan is specifically looking into that. Now, in the last 10 years, if we can see so much success in Udan, with modifications on the Udan, which is going to facilitate for more people to come in, more competition to be there, more routes being established and more connectivity being established. Imagine the kind of growth we can see with the new expanded Udan in the next 10 years. Definitely, I see the vision that there are going to be more and more airlines coming in the future. I can assure the House that there will be more and more airlines with the Udan scheme also, that it's going to come. I've talked about the tier 2 city connections and tier 3 city connections through Udan, madam, and that we are going to expand. And also in this last 18 months of me being the minister, we have given NOC to 3 new airlines also, and 2 new airlines have also applied for NOC. So this is a continuous activity. We are engaging with the stakeholders. We are engaging with the market. We are creating that aspiration that if you want to be in this sector, this is the time that you want to start a new airline, because the demand is continuously growing. This is the approach of the government also, that we need more airlines. And not only this, I would also like the people here to understand the real bottleneck here. Airports we are creating, airlines we have the Udan scheme where we are encouraging, we are giving the viability and all that. Availability of the aircrafts is the serious issue that we all need to understand. There are only certain players across the world who are making these aircrafts. If I have a lot of money to buy aircrafts, if I go sit today that I'm going to start an airline today, I have the unlimited amount of money for me and I want to buy 100 or 200 aircrafts. I can't have these 100, 200 aircrafts right here, right now, today. Because the manufacturing at which it is going comes at a pace. Every month, there are certain factories that they have, there are certain assembly lines that they have. They can only, the throughput of these shops are only that much. And they are not only supplying for India, they are supplying for across the world. There is a huge demand in Gulf. There is a huge demand in Asia-Pacific region, and everyone is having to wait for this. India is also waiting. How many orders do we have? 1,700 orders. 1,700 orders pending with Airbus, pending with Boeing, pending with other players. Once we get this, if let us say these 1,700 orders, which our airlines are doing it today, if they all come into our sector, then definitely it is going to benefit the passengers. But the bottleneck is not within the country or with the government or with the airlines. It is the availability of these airlines. We have recognized that. And that is exactly why this government has taken a stance that we are not going to only wait for these aircrafts to be built across. We are going to create a program where the aircrafts can be built in the country. We should have a made in India aircraft also, and that is the vision with which this government is moving. There is a Russian Sukhoi SJ-100, which is a regional aircraft. We are talking with them. HAL is engaging with them. They have gone into MOU. They are going to get the technology here so we can build the plane here. Embraer is a very good plane, very efficient plane. We are seeing Star Air, which is operating on Embraer, giving good connectivity to these tier 2 cities. They are also trying to increase increase their operations. We are talking with Embraer. We are telling them, please come to India and manufacture your shop here so that we can manufacture the aircrafts here. If you have 1,700, demand for 1,700 aircrafts in the future, and if you can get the companies to come and build in this own country, then imagine how much easier it is going to be for people who are airline operators here to get the aircrafts. We can have aircrafts being done here in this facility also being extended. And another type of cost, because these airlines, they run on very thin margins. That also we need to understand. And what are the challenges they face? They faced COVID. COVID was a time nobody was traveling, but they were there surviving. They were there paying salaries to their people. They've all gone through it, even though there was no single flight operating in certain days because of the lockdown. That is a phase that all the airlines had to pass through. And there are high costs of leasing. It is not that today I have the money and I'm buying a plane. There is a different strategy, financial strategy the airlines are using, not only in India, but across the world. They do leasing. Leasing is where I just rent the plane from someone else who has bought the plane, use it for a certain period of time, and I give it back to him. And this is the common strategy that you're observing in all the airlines. At one point of time, maybe 2 decades or 3 decades, 60 to 70% of them were being owned by the airlines and 30% were being done on leasing basis. Now today, 85% of the planes are being leased. So then we thought, why not we address the leasing part only? Then we observed how leasing industry is as compared to the global industry. There are certain hubs. Ireland is a hub, as a big hub, because they started very early. They have created all the regulations that are required. They have done with the taxation problems that are required, and they've created a hub for themselves. So anyone who wants to lease a plane, their first preference is they go to Ireland. And now UAE also, you have seen the demand that Gulf has created. UAE has created another hub for itself for becoming a leasing symbol. And then the Singapore is there. Singapore also kind of created. Why not India? This is the approach of our Honorable Prime Minister, that why not we should become a leasing industry, not only catering for our own demand, but for the entire world. Gift City was created with this whole idea that leasing industry should flourish here. And also we saw that the Cape Town Convention, through which the leasing industry, the compliance score which is seen across the world, that needs to be made into act. We didn't have an act, we didn't have any kind of legislation which was backing that Cape Town Convention. In December, both the houses, we have passed the bill and we have made the Cape Town Convention Act, the protection of aircraft objects, and now the compliance score for India in leasing has improved, so we are creating a presence in leasing. Now what happens with this? Now it will be easier for the companies, for the airline operators to lease planes. The cost will come down. So more people will be interested in this. This is also playing into the competition. This is also playing into creating more airlines to come into the picture. Now I also talked about MROs. Maintenance of the plane is another cost that is there. What happens, madam? We are bringing the planes. Planes I've talked about, we are bringing it from outside, from these companies. But even once you bring it, you have to maintain the plane. There is periodic maintenance. There is maintenance whenever there is any safety issue or a components issue or the engines issue. Engines issue is a very important part of the overall maintenance of the plane. And when you want to do this maintenance, what happens is usually the plane or the engine has to go back to its original OEM, which is sitting in France or Germany or one of the European countries or USA or some other country. And what is it doing? The forex cost. The cost on the airline to just send this plane or the engine, that is being borne by the passenger. And the time it takes, if you take out one plane, then it goes there, it gets maintained, it's come back 1 month, 2 months it takes. You're losing the plane in India to be operating in those sectors. Now what we have done, we have improved the MRO business in the country. We have taken this government exactly with that idea. It has improved the whole MRO situation in the country and multiple other things like the taxes around the MRO components, how you open up the airports to have MROs. I've just seen one member also ask that you need to open up tier 2, tier 3. We are doing it. We have created the rules, we have created legislations that we open up more MROs in the country. And very proudly, I'm stating this also, recently in Hyderabad, near the GMR airport, Safran, which is an important air engine manufacturer, and many of our Airbus, they have these LEAP engines which are done by them. They have set up shop here in the country. Now we don't need to send it anywhere to France or anywhere. We can do it in our country itself, and the capacity with which they have created is 300 planes per year. 300 engines per year, which is almost every day one engine is going to be maintained. Now, lesser time for maintenance, less costs also for maintenance. If it's less cost for the airlines to maintain the plane, less costs on the passenger also. That is why MRO network is also important. MRO network is something we are clearly concentrating on. And this Safran coming to India is like a gateway. Once you see that one big player is coming in, all the other players find the confidence to come to the country, and that confidence and the trust in Indian system is what this government has created for them. And Leasing Act, we have done it. And then flexible airspace also. Back then, the airspace used to be very restricted. From the country, there used to be a strict norm. This is civil aviation airspace, this is defense airspace, this is restricted airspace. Everyone was controlling their own airspace. And what was there left out with civil aviation was very, very small. So if there was a restricted airspace and from going to point A to point B, if it was not accessible to go use the restricted airspace, it has to go all around. When it goes all around, imagine the fuel cost that it takes, the time that it takes. And it was Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji who made defense, who made the intelligence, who made the civil aviation, everyone sit together, all the technologies that are there, everyone had to sit together, collaborate, coordinate, and come out with flexible airspace. So even if it is with defense, at that time, civil aviation can request that I want to use this airspace for the passengers, for the commercial purposes, and they give their airspace. So what used to take probably 30 minutes or 40 minutes over gets covered in a very shorter time, and that cuts down the cost of the plane to operate from one point to another point. That also reduces the cost. This is again playing into the fact that relatively, taking inflation and the CPI, you might even feel that why would it be that the prices are still 43% lower than before? Because of these kind of things. The interventions that we have done to keep the airfares down, there are many things which are in tandem, multi-pronged approach which is going on. So this is why we have kept them in this thing. And while I say this, I've talked about many things that are there. While I say this, there is also the second point. Let me go to the second point. This won't be taking much time, but convene a joint meeting with airline operators, representatives of the people, and all other relevant stakeholders to discuss the issue of excessive airfare during the vacation seasons urgently. This has been mentioned, and accordingly, I have mentioned that the Kerala Gulf in October 24 itself, we have done it. That was because this was placed on the time, and Honorable Speaker from the chair has advised that you have to meet the airlines, and we have taken meetings with the airlines, all the stakeholders, and we have taken it as a very proactive measure, and we are doing it every month. Every month we are sitting with the airlines. We are telling them what the festive seasons could be, what could be the airfare in that specific month. We are coming out with guidelines. We are coming out with instructions to keep them at this thing. And then the third point is establish a quasi-judicial body to regulate and monitor the air traffic ethically and equitably. To regulate, I've said that the government already has the power in extraordinary circumstances. Whenever it feels it is going out of bounds, then we have the power. And for monitoring, we have the tariff monitoring unit. We are making it more powerful. We are, in fact, including it in the aircraft rules also, so that it carries a certain kind of statutory provision for it, and that is going to strengthen, madam. And with all this, the only points that I want people to think about, one is the bottleneck of the aircraft availability. Second is the viability of the airlines. We all feel that these are companies who are charging a lot of money, but none of them are making good money. So most of them are in losses. So that is also one consideration that we have to keep in mind. And also, Competition Commission of India and High Court, they have said that the fare should be deregulated. Multiple times they have given judgments. Competition Commission also advised that the airfare should be deregulated for competition to prevail in the industry. And all this, our most important responsibility with civil aviation is safety and security. No matter how much this commercial angle, how much the pricing, everything comes, our first priority is to take the passenger from one place to another in a safe and secure way. So safety and security is the topmost priority, and we are building these airports not only for today, but for tomorrow also. No matter how much politics or political items the opposition tries to bring, we are very committed for the people of this country. If it is not there, then it won't be that 3 times in a row, one man would have become the Prime Minister of the country. That is because we are all walk, talk, and work for the people of this country and for the common man of this country, and that is going to continue, keeping intact the passenger rights, safety and security of each and every passenger who is flying in this country. And that is the commitment from the government and from the civil aviation. Thank you very much. Now I would request from all the points that I have addressed, I would request the Honorable Member Shafi Parambalji to withdraw his resolution.